Hey guys, we're continuing on our study of First John, and at least today the sun's out, the rain's gone, and at least we feel better, right? A couple of things as we jump into First John, the fourth chapter, is remembering that John believes, and he's taking an account that you have already read the gospel according to John. So as you read through this, he's thinking that you've already read the Gospel of John already. So taking that into account. Other thing is remembering that he's referring to us as believers. So he's writing to the church thinking that we have already made a profession of faith and that Christ lives in us. So these are the results of someone who is already a follower of Christ. So he's already taken those things into account. So we're just going to jump in to 1 John, the 4th chapter, verse 1. It says, "Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit to see whether they are from God. For many false prophets have gone out into the world." Remembering that he's writing this later on in life. He's an older man at this point. And by this time, there's some other religions that have jumped in. There are even some of the Jews who believe that Jesus actually is the Messiah are saying, but we want to bring in our Jewish traditions into Christianity. And he's like, no, that can't happen. So there are some false prophets. There's some things that have gone out that are saying we want to mix in with Christianity. And John's basically saying, if anything doesn't line up with the scripture, with the gospel, with the teachings of Christ, it's not true. So we have to test those things theologically. Remember, it was the Gospel of John, all right? The 7th chapter, verse 24, he says, "Do not judge by appearance." Don't judge people by their appearance. He says, but judge with right judgment. In other words, we are to judge people's theology. We need to know God's word so that we can judge things to make sure that people are being truthful, that they're giving us the right thing. So moving on, verse 7, he says, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love comes from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God, because God is love." So understanding that we can't say that we don't love others, but God lives in us, because God is love, and if love lives in us, who is God, then we're going to love other people. So he's saying it's a direct result of the Spirit of God living within us that we love others. And so even during this time when there's so much unrest, we need to be loving other people. We need to show our love to other people, because that's the result of God living within us. Reading on through, he's continuing on that mindset. And of course, that's where love is why even comes from, is that we believe that love is why Jesus died for us, and our love for him is why we love others. I mean, God is love, right? And I'm just going to jump right on over to verse 20. He says, "If anyone says, 'I love God,' and hates his brother, he's a liar. For he does not love his brother whom he has seen, cannot love God whom he has not seen. And this, I love this. And this commandment we have from him." In other words, he's remembering, hey, surely you've already read in John, the Gospel of John, the 14th chapter, where Jesus says, hey, a new command I give you, that you love one another, and this is how they're going to know that you're my disciples. He's taking into account that you already know that. So that's the reason he says, "In this commandment we have from him. Whoever loves God must also love his brother." So he's taking into account that you already know this from the Gospel of John. So as we're reading through 1 John, he is really, he's bringing on the gospel into this letter as well. So I look forward to talking with you tomorrow as we jump in to 1 John, the 5th chapter, which is the last chapter of this book. Hope you're having a great day, and I will talk with you again tomorrow.